right, Facebook, we're live. Just before I head down to Sydney. Hope everyone had a great week. It was pretty busy here. Got a few massive projects coming on, which I'm pretty excited about, which you guys will all know in the not too distant future. Got a new website coming. There's companies, there's partnerships, there's heaps going on. So yeah, hopefully you guys actually like it. So, mate, the focus for today is I got a message from Taz up in the Brisbane location, and his question was, I guess, how can you embody the person that you want to become before you become that? This is probably one of the most important, deep and meaningful reasons in why you do what you do. So a massive thank you for the question. So embodying the person that you are before you actually become that person. Like I said, that is definitely one of the most important things you need to do in regards to business, in regards to life, in regards to your vision that you want to have for the future. I guess, the best part of the journey is not necessarily the destination, but it's actually who you become along the way. So without getting too deep, which I think is absolutely impossible with this topic, you need to work out why you're doing what you do every single day. You're going to be faced with challenges. You're going to be faced with obstacles and trials and tribulations and all those sort of things. And if you don't actually know why you're doing what you're doing, they're going to end up being too difficult, especially when it comes to business. In your personal life, if you don't have a purpose, I'm gonna say your life is gonna be, I'm not gonna say not purposeful, but I definitely think it's gonna feel very much unfulfilled. There's a massive difference between success and fulfillment, and what I find is that a lot of these, people that you speak to in business, they're working in a business, they're, I guess instead of working on the business or actually being involved in the business, they're actually just working in the business. Because I think what you'll actually find is that if you don't have a clear purpose or vision or, creating that a lifestyle that you want to have for yourself, but more importantly, knowing who you want to be along that way, I do feel that you're going to be, fraught with problems, and that the feeling of unfulfillment is going to be really, really big. Even if you do reach the massive success, and I hope everyone that reads or watches this does, you're going to find it very, very unfulfilling if you're actually not doing what you probably feel that you're destined to do. How do you find that? Well, first of all, think of not what you want to be, but who you want to be. So whether you want to be a CEO of a massive, multi-billion-dollar company, maybe that's you. Maybe you want to be an amazing mum. Maybe you want to just have a few employees and enjoy your time in your job or at your work, or maybe you want to be the boss. Maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. But who you are has to be intrinsic to you. It has to be congruent. It has to be really on point, and along the way you need to find that. I would encourage you to stop, find some quiet time, whether you meditate, whether you go for a walk on the beach, whether you go to the gym, maybe you go for a bike ride, something that's going to get you away from the day-to-day running of your life and your business. Something that's going to be outside maybe the normal. Maybe, like I said, spending time on the jetty looking at the sunset. That might be romantic, maybe. But, finding that true inner self for you, I think most people miss that. And I think that's quite sad to actually be involved in your own life and actually miss the most important part, which is you. I think too many people are going to be focused on the outcome, and the difference between success and fulfillment. If you take, Robin Williams, for example, the late Robin Williams, probably one of the most successful people in Hollywood. He had a #1 show. He won Golden Globes. he won Oscars, he was renowned all around the world, he was funny, everyone loved him, and yet he took his own life because all that success at the end of the day didn't actually mean much because he wasn't actually fulfilled in what he actually did. To me, that's probably the saddest outcome that a human can ever get. You know, having all the success and actually being unfulfilled or feeling empty, it's kind of like being in a relationship where you feel lonely. That to me, like I said, is probably one of the most horrible experiences that people can have. But if you don't actually want to find out who you are, or if you don't actually have that urge to find out who you are and what you actually want, you're going to miss the most important part. And when you, like I said, when you do find that success, there's going to be something missing and definitely lacking within your life. Secondary to that, I think a lot of people these days have a massive sense of entitlement. So the problem with entitlement is along the road, and if you're trying to find the embodiment and trying to embody the person that you want to be, if you find out that Brett, hey buddy, if you find out that you're on the wrong path, you're in charge of that. You can actually change that. The problem is that sense of entitlement, and I definitely think the generation these days has a massive sense of entitlement. They don't want to put in the work. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you just started a social media, program or platform or advertising campaign, and you don't have 10,000 followers. Well, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the time. You got to network with people and use your network, and that's just going to take time to get like that. You know what I mean? The worst thing to do would be compare yourself when you just started out in social media and maybe you're trying to create your own brand, or maybe trying to launch a company, or maybe you're trying to set up a business and you don't have the massive following, but you're trying to create that. Well, one thing not to do would be compare yourself to someone like a Kim Kardashian that has, 8 million followers. We don't know why, we don't know how that she makes all this money. So I definitely wouldn't compare myself to people like that. Do you know what I mean? The reason for that is that they're completely different paths. You know, if that's the lifestyle that you want to have for yourself, well, fantastic. But I think, most of those types of people are very, very unfulfilled. Although successful in our eyes, potentially, the unfulfillment of that may be quite huge. So the sense of entitlement, where does that come from? Well, it's because maybe it comes from, well, I've been in this company for 2 years, or, probably not even that long, actually, 6 months, or, 12 months or something like that. And what you'll actually find is because I've been in the company for a certain amount of time or whatever, that's the reason why you get a promotion. I really don't think that's the reason. Time served doesn't give you promotions. It's the added value you can actually bring to the business, to the company. That's where you get the promotion from. So I definitely would get rid of that sense of entitlement. No one owes you anything. And unfortunately, in the generations of the way the world has actually worked over the years, nothing has really changed. Although what we'll actually find is that, the millennials, for some reason, want everything handed to them. Well, unfortunately, the world's not going to change for that type of person. So I encourage you to go back to the start. I encourage you to find out your purpose, find the reason why you actually do what you do. You have to spend time thinking about that, developing yourself, finding yourself maybe, and I would expose myself to as many different areas as I possibly can to find the right one for you. Maybe it's yoga, maybe it's cycling, maybe it's CrossFit, maybe it's something outside of what you're doing right now. Because if you actually already knew what you were doing and knew exactly what you wanted to do, well, you'd probably be on the same path. You'd probably be on the right path anyway. So I encourage you guys to do some research, find people that you feel are going to be more connected to yourself, find your inner drive, find your inner purpose, and find the reason why you're doing what you do. If it's not necessarily congruent to who you want to be, use it as a stepping stone forward. A lot of people say to me, oh, well, if I don't love what I do, I'm going to leave and do something else. Well, maybe use it as an education tool. Maybe use the resources around, network with people, build relationships, and really develop that skill that you want to have, and use what you're doing right now as a stepping stone to what you really want to do. I'm not a big believer in, if you don't love what you do, then you should stop. there's going to be times in your business and your life that you seriously don't like what you do. So if you always quit when things get hard, that's going to be a habit, not a resourceful habit. I encourage you to push through those things and really just kind of, like I said, spend some time with yourself, work out what you want, work out how you operate, work out what you love, work out what you don't love, and really find the passion in what you do. Like I said, you're not going to love every moment, but that's how life works. You have to have the bitter to get the sweet. Things are going to be hot and cold to notice contrast. You need to have that contrast to actually find out exactly how things work. So if you want to shoot me an email, thanks for that topic, Taz. Hopefully I answered that one for you. Shoot me an email or send me through a messenger. Hope you're having a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya.